Hey everybody, this is Jerry Stapp. I'm with the Stapp Real Estate Group. This is Broker Top Tip 6. Very excited about today's episode. I have founder and creator Bob Mangold of the HOMEBOSS Listing Hub system. Bob, welcome to Broker Top Tips episode 6.
Thanks so much. I love being here.
So I know we've talked over the years, we've strategized over the years. How do we help agents get more listings? What's the strategy to get more listings? So tell me a little bit more about Home Boss Listing Hub.
So what the HomeBoss Listing Hub is, it's the framework for agents that are actually looking to scale their business to seven figures. Okay. So what I found over the 34 years now that I've been doing this, I got a license when I was 11, so I'm good. Is there's really six key areas that you have to focus on. First and foremost, if you want to make seven figures or if you just want to make a good living in real estate, you need to focus on listings. So the first thing is listings. Number two is lead conversion, right? So I believe lead conversion is more important than number three, which is lead generation, because,
Yeah.
well, you could have a database of 10,000 leads, but if you can't turn any of them into transactions, does it matter? And so that's number three is lead generation. Number four is focusing on those listings. Number five is building a personal brand. Number six, or I'm sorry, number five is the operations and administration side of the business, right? You have to decide as an agent, if you want to make more money, then you can't do everything yourself, right? So the
Right.
way that I explain that is it's simple. You can either do $10 an hour jobs or you can do $10,000 an hour jobs. Every agent that is massively successful has a referral network, and it's both local, national, and global. So
Yeah.
that you know, no matter what, you always have transactions coming in from referrals. So those are the six bases on which, I believe that every business is built off of. Now, one of the things that I get a lot is lead conversion is really critical. So when you say, how do
Yeah.
you get more listings? Number one, you have to be able to be different and have a different structure about what you talk to people about. So
Right.
let me explain it as branding. Branding is the how or the why people should hire you. Marketing is how are they going to find you? So we need to break branding and marketing into two different things. So the question that I always ask an agent is, hey, I'm interviewing five different agents. Tell me why I hire you instead of everybody else. If you can't give me a good answer to that, other than, well, I've been doing this for 34 years and I was born and raised here and all that nonsense that everybody gets in, well, I got three kids and my little dog Sparky, and people don't care about that. They only care about three things. How are you going to get this thing sold for me? How much money am I getting? How fast can you get it done? And do I really have to deal with all the hassles and headaches? Those are the only three things that people really care about. So your listing process has to solve those issues. And so if I said to you, hey, Jerry, well, here's the good news. I can get your house sold in 14 days. I've got a process where we'll eliminate all the hassles and headaches. And I can guarantee you that I'm going to get you the highest market value for your home. Does that get your attention?
Oh, yes.
Because that's all, right? It's
Yeah.
encompassing of those three things. And so the question then becomes, well, how in the world do I deliver on that?
Yeah.
And that's where the whole home boss process came in. And actually, believe it or not, it's going on 7.5 years ago that
Yeah.
we started this journey.
Yeah.
Uh, but the good news is when I did this, there were really four things that I knew that we had to figure out. So if you take yourself back to 2017, we just started having the lawsuits, the sellers getting involved, and the Department of
Yes.
Justice getting involved. Well, how are we going to deal with that? And then, at least for me in Phoenix, we had every discount broker in the planet there. Every hedge fund that was, hey, we'll sell your home for $2,000 was in there. So how do you deal with the reduced commission?
Yep.
Number three, we had all the cash offers, right? So Phoenix is kind of like the hub of every crazy real estate experiment there is. At the time, cash offers were offering ridiculously low prices, but what we found is they were able to gain market share because they offered speed, convenience, and certainty. So how could we offer speed, convenience, and certainty? And the fourth reason, and the real reason that I started thinking this process was um, my son had just finished going through chemo and got a real estate license. And I started asking the question, how do I send a 21-year-old kid into a listing when the logical question is going to be, well, hey, kid, how old are you and how many homes have you sold?
Right.
I just started thinking about that and I'm go, well, it doesn't have to be just a 21-year-old kid. How many buyer's agents who hardly ever do listings get asked
Mhm.
the same thing, right? How many listings have you sold this year? And what did
Yep.
you sell them for? Right? So, how do you take and create a process where we literally extract the person out of it in a good way, right? So, it's not about telling me about, hey, here's all my family and my kids and my dog Sparky. It's about the process. How do I create a process where people don't ask us about the person because it's only about the results we get? So, I took the three things that sellers wanted and created the home boss process around it so that we could solve speed and certainty. We could definitely get more money than what everybody else could do. We got the cash offers out of the way because we could get so much more money. Now, does that mean we don't offer them a cash offer if somebody really wants it right now? We do because there's a market for it. But fourth and most importantly, how do we plug an agent in to a listing presentation where nobody asks how many homes have you sold, how long have you been doing it, or any of that? And that's really what Home Boss was all about.
Yeah, I love it when I go on a listing presentation and they're like, "Well, how long is your listing agreement for?" Well, not normally like 30 days. And they're like, they
Yeah.
look at me like, "What, 30 days? How could you?" Well, so when we take a listing, we're going to sell it. That's just the bottom line, right? And I love it when buyers agents come to our open houses and they see the way we're handling this and they're like, well, how do I do that? How do I do that? Right. So learning this message, learning this system can change agents' lives in the way they do business, Bob.
And that becomes the question that I ask, and I'm going to start doing it in all the webinars I do. It's like, what are you willing to do to actually change, to create a life-changing business for yourself?
Yep.
Because that's really what we need to think about. It's not like, hey, how do I get by or how do I do a few things? How do you create a life-changing business? And the real answer to that is, well, I have to start creating life-changing results, right? We've sold so many houses where we've gotten whatever, 50, 60, 80, 100, 200, $300,000 more than what the seller was even expecting.
Crazy.
Right? Like one of my son's first listings, it was his, yeah, first, his second listing, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
was a home that when he met with him, and I did go with him, so full disclosure, I did, but I didn't say anything. I just let him do the presentation. And when he said, well, like, how much are you hoping to get out of this? And they said, well, like 525. And we're like, okay, that seems reasonable. Well, we ended up getting 617, 980 for it.
Yes. Yes, that's awesome.
That's life changing for those people. They were selling their house and downsizing because they were retiring. Well, do you know what? Oh, just short of $100,000 more money does for somebody when they're retiring.
It's going to help them in everything they do in retirement.
And guess what? My son sold three other of their houses.
Yeah, it creates this loyalty with sellers when you're able to help them like that. It's incredible.
Yeah, and here's the good news. Nobody's ever asked them, how old are you? How many homes have you sold? Nobody's ever asked them because it was about the process.
Yeah. And what's really amazing is when you get a listing, what motivates me to get more listings is the open houses, Bob. Right? And people think I'm crazy when I tell them, "Hey, I had 300 people this weekend come by the open house," and they look at me, well, they look at me like I'm crazy, Bob. Tell me a little
Yeah.
more about that.
So, well, here's the good news, and I'll toot your horn for you. That you and Alexis hold the record for the most number of people at the open house. It's 1,224.
I know that was a fluke, but still, I was expecting maybe three or 400, not that many.
It totally I don't want to say it was a fluke. It was the perfect house in the perfect area and this fit exactly what we're trying to do.
Timing was perfect.
100%. So
Yeah.
better to be lucky than good, right?
There you
But here's
go.
the thing I want people to understand. When we say 1,224, that's not, mom, dad, and two kids came in. We count that as four. We count each set of visits as a buying unit. So if mom, dad, and or two kids come in, that's one.
Correct.
Because the key to this, folks, is what we train is what we call 5 from 1. How do we get 5 additional transactions from every single listing? Well, the open house strategy is part of that because, I would say certainly in your market, even as we sit here and record this today, 300's probably the average open house attendance, 300 buying
Yeah.
units. Well, here's the thing, folks. If you're not able to convert five more transactions, whether that's listings, buyers, combination, five more from 300 people, you're going to have to take and create a process to train yourself on what to say better, right? So what I will tell everybody in real estate, if you want to make seven, I don't care if you want to make seven figures, six figures, mid six figures, if you want to make serious money in real estate, you have to have processes for these things. This isn't something like you accidentally just bump into 300 people. You have to take and be able to take and have a value statement. So, what I would encourage you, you need to have a value statement for listings, right? Sold highest market value, guaranteed 14 days, no hassles and headaches. Buying a house and working with investors. So, when people come to our open house, if I said, hey, Jerry, has anybody taken a few minutes and sat down and walked you through how you could buy a house like this and have it paid off? I don't know, call it 7 to 10 years. Has anybody sat you down and walked through what that could look like for you?
Yeah.
And the answer is always, well, no, it's not. Or no, nobody has. And it's like, hey, I'm happy to jump on a Zoom, but I can't do this with you today. It'd take me 20 minutes or so. And like, if you could buy a house at this price range, pay it off 7 to 10 years, save, I don't know, call it $400,000, and then use that money that you were going to pay to the bank to fund your retirement plan. If we could help you set that up, would it make sense for us to, I don't know, possibly look at working together? What
Yep.
I what I can tell you, I've been saying that for 30 years. I've never had anybody say no, ever. So we don't bump into how do we convert leads by accident. This is thoughts, this is process, this is systems. When I say process, we have materials for that, right? We have a plan. We have a flyer at the open house that opens that conversation. Everything that we do is calculated, but in a positive
Everything.
way.
So I call those converting conversations. And so, the better you're prepared, the better you know what to say. I mean, I love it when I advertise to sellers in the area most likely to move to come to my open house. And they come to my open house, they go inside the house, they come out and they're like bragging about how much better their house is and items inside my house, right? And I'm literally thinking, let's go see your house. Let's go see your house right now, right? So
Right.
there's this strategy behind it, and then that converting phrase I do with buyers. So yeah, hey, if any of the agents want to know any more about this, please just message me below, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And let me just share this one because if you're listening to this, you're probably going, "Oh, that sounds like bullshit. It sounds like a gimmick. It can't work." Trust me, guys, it's only math, right, Jerry? You know how it works. It's only math, folks. And so if I give you the math and I show you exactly how it works, and you could take it to your financial planner, you could take it to Dave Ramsey, you could take it to your CPA and verify the
Hmm.
math, and it's all true, wouldn't it make sense for people to work with you?
Yeah, numbers don't lie, Bob.
Right. And so that's the cool part, folks, is it's just a strategy and a system to put this in place because if you don't have processes for this, right? I'll give you another example. Part of what the Home Boss Listing Hub is, like you have to take care of the administration of your business, the operation. So you have these open houses. Well, who's going to put those leads into your CRM? Who's going to do the follow up? Who's going to take and have, do you have predetermined email campaigns? So, like, we have three that
Hmm.
go out every week to everybody in a database. Who's doing that?
Right.
If you don't have people to do it for you, folks, then that means it's you doing it. So, either you're the agent or you're the assistant. You have to choose. And if you're the assistant, you're never going to make that much money because you can't do it all. What most agents do, and Jerry, you've been doing it as long as I have, they simply don't do those things. And then they wonder why they're not getting more business.
Yes.
What if you were paying somebody $6 an hour to do that? How many guys would now pay somebody $6 an hour to do that? So part of what we set up in the Home Boss Listing Hub, we hire and train ISAs that our people can hire for $6 an hour to do that. They're trained in how to do all these processes, right? We have processes, we have manuals, we have guides, we have training guides to be able to take and have that. The more ISAs that we need to hire, well, we've got a training process we can take them through so that they do the work that we know the agents need to have done to be successful.
Yeah. So what did you say to me? You said, because Jerry, I want agents to be concentrating on $10,000 an hour job, like those converting conversations, Bob.
Yeah, or listing
Right?
appointments,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So that's it in a nutshell. So
There's
and
the good news is there's three things an agent needs to do: handle the listing appointments,
hmm
manage their business, oversee it, right? Make sure that all the
hmm
systems and processes are happening, and train the agents that work with you to be able to convert more business. That's the only three things that an agent should be doing if you want to make a lot of money in real estate.
Yeah, and it's amazing. So once you learn that, and then you learn the follow-up system, like Bob, just 2 weeks ago, I got a referral on that one listing that we had over 1,200 people. I got another referral just off of that. So
Right.
we're working on our sixth escrow just from that listing, Bob. So just it's absolutely amazing. It will be life-changing. Go through the mechanics. And by the way, if you guys have more questions, you have questions, just respond down below. Send me a message. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. So, Bob, any last words for these agents before we sign off?
Yes, real estate's an easy business. We make it hard, but it's actually a very easy
It
business.
is.
There's only six things that you need to focus on. That's the cool part. There's only six.
Yeah, so don't
So,
get caught up in the minutia of stuff. Focus on these tasks that we can go over with you in detail. So, Bob, just want to say thank you so much for being on Broker Top Tips.
my
Bob
pleasure
Mangold,
always.
home boss. Love you, buddy.
Back at you guys.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.